What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Tacho here, and we're back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes. So we have the Datamine for the upcoming Pirate banner, and we have the refines for the units. So we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of a discussion on all that stuff. Now, the update is currently live on the Google Play Store, so if you play the game on an Android device, you are free to go ahead and download the update right now. But unfortunately for your boy, I play the game on iOS, so the update's not available for me just yet, RIP. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and talk about the refines and all the updates and data mines for you guys. So let's just hop right into it. We're going to start things off with our girl Cecilia. So her refine is the Tome of Order. It's got 14 might, 2 range. It's effective against flying, which is pretty clutch. Actually, I think that's a nod to Air Caliber that she had from Fire Emblem 6. So I guess that makes a little bit of sense. And it also gives her weapon triangle advantage on colorless type foes, which is fine. Typically, when they do these refines, they like to mold them around the weapon that the unit had beforehand. So Cecilia, of course, had Grand Raven as her weapon. So it makes sense that her refine is also giving her colorless type triangle advantage. And her special effect refine is going to give her basically T-Adept 3. So the old school combo of Raven Tome T-Adept is in full force on this Cecilia. Pretty cool, and it's not too bad as a counter meta pick for a lot of opponents, like colorless bows, for example, like Legendary Alm and Legendary Leaf, are not going to be a problem at all when you've got Raven Tome and T-Adept. It's also very good against staff units. So it's not that bad of a refine. I know a lot of people are talking trash about it though, and just saying this refine sucks and they don't like it. And I'm not going to say that's unwarranted, because T-Adept is definitely not going to be that useful in any matchups against red opponents. So if you don't want to be stuck in the T-Adept Raven Tome combo, you could always go for one of the stat refines instead. Maybe go for plus defense or plus res for Cecilia. Possibly even plus speed. I mean, it just depends on how you want to build her. And then you're free to run something else in the A slot to either give her some more damage or raise her bulk a bit. So it's going to be up to you how you decide to play this Cecilia. But I will say one thing about this. Effective against flying, especially on tomes, are about to become pretty good. Because we just recently got Hell, and Hell is not able to use her miracle effect against tome units. So Cecilia is going to be able to bypass that and go for the one-shots on Hell. And effective against flying is definitely going to help her pull that off. Hell's res is also a complete dump stat. So it's going to be very likely that Cecilia or any other tome unit that has effective against flying is going to be able to just get the one-shots on Hell. So that is pretty cool. Also, the recent Pirate Tibarn that we're about to get is a colorless flying type unit. And Cecilia is just going to straight up body him. So it is a pretty cool counter meta pick, especially when you consider all the things that we're about to be getting. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, so we got Shiro over here with Bright Naginata. It's got 16 might and 1 range. And if foe initiates combat, grants attack and defense up 4 to unit. So not too bad there, it's basically just sturdy stance 2. And if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack and defense up 5 to unit, and neutralizes unit's penalties during combat. Okay, so it's like a souped up carrot cudgel, I guess you could say, where he's gaining attack and defense up 5, and instead of only neutralizing penalties to attack and defense, he neutralizes all of them, which is pretty relevant in the matchups against Broadleaf Fan and Dominance, because they're not going to be able to gain any bonus damage against this guy if he's neutralizing all of his penalties. So a pretty solid refine in terms of adding bulk to this dude. It's not like the craziest, but it's definitely a pretty solid one for a defensive unit like him. Okay, so next up we've got our girl Setsuna. So Setsuna's Yumi. It's got 14 might and 2 range, effective against flying like all bows are. And if foe uses a bow, dagger, magic, or staff, grants all stats of 4 to unit during combat. So basically, as long as she's in combat against a ranged opponent, she's going to be getting +4 to everything, which is definitely going to help her out. I mean, if you want to see some underpowered stats, then take a look at base Setsuna and just weep in a corner. So it's a much needed refine for her to just get a whole bunch of stats. And also, if there's a bonus active on her, she's going to gain attack and speed up 5 and neutralize any of her attack and speed penalties during combat. So not quite as all-encompassing as Shiro's Refine, where he just neutralizes every penalty that he has. Setsuna's only going to be neutralizing her attack and speed penalties. Otherwise, though, she's getting effectively attack and speed plus 9 and defense and res plus 4, as long as she's fighting a ranged type opponent. So that's some pretty crazy stat stacking right there. And our final refine of the day is going to be this guy here. This is Legion. And, oh man, this guy got a really sick refine, actually. A lot of people have been clamoring over this guy's refine. So what it does is, it's going to inflict penalties on the foe's stats during combat, equal to any bonuses they may have times 2. So let's say the foe has attack tactic in play, so they have plus 6 to attack. He's going to turn that into a penalty, and then he's going to double the decrease. So they would go from plus 6 attack to minus 12 attack if they're in combat with this guy. And he does that to every stat if they have any bonuses active. So that's a pretty nasty debuff effect, actually. And there's absolutely no condition on this. As long as Legion is in combat with the foe, he's going to be inflicting these debuffs on them. So this is actually a super nasty refine right here. And units that are reliant on having stat bonuses are just going to get shredded by this guy. So definitely some nasty stuff there. And also, after combat, if he attacks a foe, he's going to inflict panic on the target, as well as the foes within 2 spaces. So it's pretty much Panic Smoke, except with a bonus of inflicting panic on the target foe as well. Of course, he got that effect from Legion's Axe, which he had before the refine. And as if that wasn't even enough, we still have the special effect refine to go over here. So at the start of combat, if the foe's HP is above or equal to 75%, he's going to gain attack and speed up 5, and special cooldown charge plus 1 per his attack during combat. So he's getting attack and speed up 5 and special cooldown ramping, along with this effect here that just unconditionally debuffs the foes based on whatever bonuses they may have. And he also has built-in Panic Smoke. This refine is like legitimately what I would expect from a brand new unit to have as a perf weapon now. It just does so many things. Like, this is nasty. And quickly, if we go ahead and take a look at our boy Legion's stats over here, he's got 36 attack and 35 speed, which, if you calculate in the plus 5 to both of those stats, he's going to be on 41 attack and 40 speed, which is really good, to be honest. And you look at his defense and res and go, oh, well, defense and res aren't really the best on him, so maybe he's not all that good. But if you think about it, his main competitors before this were Raven and Linus, and both of those guys have the life and death refine on Basilicos. So while they would be gaining plus 5 to attack and speed, they also suffer defense and res minus 5 as well. Legion doesn't really have to worry about that, so the fact that his defense and res are kind of subpar there isn't really like the biggest detriment to him. He just cares about the plus 5 to attack and speed, and also the special cooldown ramping that he's going to be getting. So I could totally see this guy just coming out of nowhere and becoming a meta level unit just because of this refine. A lot of units need to have hard buff skills active on them for them to really perform at the top level. And just being able to spit in their face with this refine, that's going to be pretty nasty stuff. So I may actually have to dust off my Legion and build this guy up, because I know we got a lot of copies of him for free. He was one of the earliest Grand Hero Battle units, so it's not really going to take that many Heroic Grails to actually get this guy to plus 10. So this is definitely going to be an awesome addition to the Heroic Grail roster, and Legion just out of nowhere becoming a super good merge project option. Really awesome stuff there. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the Tempest Trial stuff, and we're going to be talking about our boy Darros over here, as well as the 2 Sacred Seals. So our first Sacred Seal is going to be Phantom Res 1, which I guess that's like the res version of Phantom Speed. I don't really know how good this is going to be. We don't really have all that many skills that calculate based on res. I guess we have the Sabotage skills and like the OG Ploy skills and things like that. Also, Pegasus Flight, which, I mean, why would you even want to run Pegasus Flight anymore when we just got Guard Bearing and Dive Bomb 3? So I don't know if you would want to run Phantom Res. It could be pretty clutch in certain situations. And for a unit like New Year's Selkie, where she gets the close call effect based on her res as opposed to speed, I guess it might not be too bad on her as well. But I don't really know if this is going to be all that meta of a Sacred Seal. It is nice, though, that we are starting to see a little bit of a change of pace, because I'm really just hoping we get some more of these Sacred Seals that do unique things, as opposed to just being carbon copies of the actual passive skills. So things like Hardy Bearing, Deflect Missile, Deflect Magic, Armored Boots, and just any of the seals that do something different. I would love to just get some more of those. So hopefully we start seeing some more unique Sacred Seals in the future. And the second Sacred Seal is going to be Hone Dragons, which is kind of meh, to be honest. I mean, it's not bad. Like, if you have a unit that has fortified dragons already, like Ninian, for example, and then you give her the Hone Dragon Sacred Seal, she would make a pretty solid buff bot, because she'd be able to give +6 to all stats on any adjacent dragon allies. So that could be pretty clutch. But, I mean, dragons, like, who really runs dragons anymore except in arena mode where they can score good? You don't really see dragons all that much, and it's pretty obvious why, because they treat dragons like the hated stepson, and all the other movement types like flying, for example, and infantry are treated like the firstborn love child. So, I don't know, man. Dragons need some kind of comeback. Hopefully they start getting some more love. Like, you couldn't even run Guard Bearing on Myrrh. They specifically locked Guard Bearing out of the flying dragon units, which is so sucky, because like Myrrh and the female Grima and Lilith and all those other flying dragons would have loved to have Guard Bearing, but they were just like, nah, you guys are dragons, you don't get nothing in this game. So it is what it is, but hopefully in the future we start getting some more dragon love, and hopefully some armored love too. Armors and dragons really need a push at this point, because all the meta level stuff we've been getting are all focused on infantry and flyers pretty much. So I would love to just get a change of pace and hopefully see a resurgence of armors and dragons. But anyways, as for our boy Darros, his weapon is Dex Swabber Plus, and it's essentially the exact same thing as Flowing Lance that we saw on Geese. So lull attack and defense level 5, as long as he's not adjacent to any allies during combat. Pretty strong weapon, and definitely going to be a good inherit for a lot of your units, especially those really good mergeable axes like Echidna and Ross and Mustafa. So it's always a good thing when we get these inheritable weapons from the Tempest Trial units that are really good. And the rest of his kit is Shove, Earth Boost, and Odd Defense Wave 3, which he gets Odd Defense Wave 3 as a 4-star. So if you wanted to just inherit this in one shot, you'd be able to do it. Not that I would recommend that. I mean, if you're going to sacrifice Darros, you definitely want to use it for Dex Swabber Plus. So just keep that in mind. And the final thing that I want to talk about today is going to be the inheritance restrictions for Dive Bomb 3. So as we can see here, it's going to be melee only and flying only. Well, we sort of knew it was going to be flying only just from looking at the actual icon there. But as far as ranged units getting shafted out of this, I guess that is a little unfortunate. But in that same regard, I feel like it is a little balanced that way. Because if you think about units like the Dancing Ishtar or the Blade Tome flying units, and imagine if they could just do an instant desperation attack, that would have been pretty bananas. So I guess it is fair game that they balanced it like this and decided to keep it away from any of the ranged flyers. But still, I mean, there's so many good melee flyers you could put this on. Like, for example, Cordelia, which it's going to combo perfectly with Cordelia's Lance. We've also got Duo Pala, who's going to make great use of this. And also Elincia as well. So there's a lot of good melee flyers that are going to enjoy having this skill. So definitely going to be a powerful B-slot option for your player phase flyers. And overall, I'm not too upset about the restrictions, but it is relevant for those of you that were planning to give this to your mages or your ranged flyers. So that's going to wrap us up for the breakdown of the Datamines that we got. Definitely let me know in the comments section, guys, which refine are you the most hyped for and which one are you going to want to go for the most. And my favorite out of the bunch is definitely going to be Legion. I mean, that guy went from a 0 to a hero with that refine. So it's pretty awesome stuff. But anyways, that's all for today. So this is your boy Tacho signing out. Take care, guys. Have a great night. And I'll catch you guys again on the flip side.